May I speak in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. This brief gospel passage on welcome and on service may be short, but it's packed with power. If we give a cup of water to anyone, we have given it to Christ. To serve Christ and to love him, we actually must serve and love everybody else. We must welcome them. But what does welcome mean at our current time when our church doors are closed and when showing any kind of hospitality is complicated, to say the least? What does welcome look like, and how can we be a welcoming community in these situations? It's easy to fixate on our closed church doors and not pay enough attention to sometimes those hidden inner doors within us that are closed to other people. The things that sometimes, without our really realising it, prevents us from welcoming absolutely everybody, those with lives different from our own. I'm sure at the moment, as indeed I am, we are feeling very deeply the impact of our closed church doors. But for some, they have always found church doors have been closed to them for whatever reason. One of the current issues that the Black Lives Matters movement is exposing is that we all have hidden prejudices, however small, hidden biases, that we can hardly be aware of ourselves, but out of which we can operate when we meet someone whose life or background is different from our own. And that has subtle effects on how we treat people, whether that's about colour of skin or gender or sexual orientation or education level, background, the sort of class that person comes from, maybe even the profession that they work in. And our subconscious operates on levels deeper than we are sometimes understand. I'm sure we've all had experience of asking questions of a stranger, and we're immediately trying to pigeonhole that person. We're trying to work out, who are they? Are they like us? Do I relate to this person? Is there anything threatening about where this person is coming from in terms of who I am? And I think sometimes differences frighten us because we don't always understand other people's lives. The problem is, Jesus didn't tell us to only welcome those we understood. He told us to welcome absolutely everybody. He told us to welcome the stranger. And even if the stranger is sometimes strange to us, if their life presents a challenge to us, or if it taps into a subconscious bias or prejudice that's residing within us, that will affect how we behave. And yet we are called to welcome. I think it's interesting in this time of shut doors to think about those interior doors within our lives that we might be living behind without really having realised that. Now that most of us can open our front doors, and indeed from July the 4th, you can go through the front door of another household and share life in their home together with suitable social distancing. But now that we can do that, maybe we should be spending some time thinking about those interior doors within our lives that might need prizing open just a little bit to let a bit of fresh air in, and maybe a little bit of fresh thinking. After all, when we come, and we will get there at some point, we are working on it, but when we come to physically opening our church doors, who are we opening those church doors to? Is it to ourselves, for coziness and security? And actually, a little bit of that is okay. We are all in need of seeing one another, of comfort, of fellowship, of that familiarity, of being able to worship together. We're all in need of some tender, loving care at this time. But if that's all we're opening to, then we have missed the point. Now is a crucial time to be thinking about how we open our church doors so that all feel welcome, no matter which part of Broadstone they live in, how much money we have, what physical, spiritual or mental health issues and needs we bring through that door, what issues of shame or regret, what issues of anxiety or despair, what moral dilemmas and messes, and indeed what joys and comforts and delights that we bring with us as we come through those doors. All of us and all of that is welcome at St. John's, and we would not be Christ's people, as indeed we are, if that were not the case. So preparing our church buildings to be as safe as possible from infection is also a fresh opportunity to think about how can we make that space as safe as possible for those who haven't felt safe to come to church before. Now, much as I love who we've been and who we are at St. John's, and I really mean that, I think this is a fabulous bunch here, and that we are genuinely a community who cares, who's deeply compassionate, who's thoughtful, who's generous, and who wants to know what do we need to do to make an impact in this community. But there is always more that we can do to be even more welcoming. The work of preparing the church building to open its doors takes time, but we're working on it. But the work to open those doors in our inner lives can take just a little bit longer. And we will be a changed community when we are able to gather together again. And indeed, the wider community is also changed. In this crisis, some people have lost loved ones or jobs or income. Some have lost futures. Some have lost their health. Those who've recovered from coronavirus often have many further health issues to battle with lungs, with breathing. There can be all sorts of complications around it. Some people have had to use a food bank for the first time, and some will lose their homes. So our community, even though we have so far been less affected in Dorset, will be changed by this experience. Our lives have been touched. So we need to come together as a changed community, and again, if we don't do that, we have missed the point. A recent open letter to the British Methodist Church, which was signed by quite a few Methodist ministers and Methodist lay deacons, helpfully cites some truths that have been exposed during this pandemic, that there has been a real awakening during this time, awakening to the damage caused by our obsession with status and materialism, the inequalities within society, an awakening to what can be achieved when less traffic and less global pollution allows our earth to breathe, how the suffering that we've seen but not noticed in other parts of the world can suddenly end up on our own doorstep. An awakening also to the joy that can be found in caring for one another and in our human need and our capacity for showing kindness and love. And the letter concludes, for a long time, many in the Methodist Church have been crying out for a radical transformation of our mission and ministry, a crystallisation of our identity, and the articulation of a longer-term vision that goes beyond increasing our membership, getting more young people through our doors, and encouraging more people into ordained ministry. Can we seize this opportunity, this liminal space between the pre- and post-COVID-19 world, to take on board all that we have seen and learned, to commit to not simply returning to the way things were before, but rather embracing a new and more hopeful future? We must believe we can. We must build a future which is rooted in all that has been, but which seeks to be honest about where we are now and creative and courageous in offering a pathway into the immediate and forthcoming years. A future which prioritises justice above all things. And by justice, we understand deep listening and caring, partnership and cooperation, the showing of compassion and mercy, genuine inclusivity, honest transparency rather than soundbite and rhetoric, and a total re-evaluation of who and what is most important. In the Methodist Church, it feels as if we have a very narrow window of opportunity to engender real systemic and cultural change, and to ensure that we do not go back to where we were before. How can we take these challenges which are facing the wider world and translate them into a critical mission response? In short, can we reimagine church just as society is being reimagined? Isn't all of this all true of the Anglican Church too? Is this something we can do? Indeed, is it something that we can afford not to do? They say that when one door closes, another door opens. Our shut church doors have opened doors in people's hearts. As we prepare to open our buildings, let's open our own inner doors to embrace not just one another when one day we are able to do so again, but embrace what we must become. Embrace the very meaning of what radical, inclusive welcome and service looks like, even when, and especially if, it costs us. The shut doors of our churches are not the biggest problem. We have still been the church. Rather, it is those shut doors we can come across in our own lives. Now is the time to get those doors open. Amen.